Alright, in this video we're going to talk about discounts, how to calculate them, how to understand them, maybe get some perspective of how we use them every day in the real world, and we're going to use that to help us answer some questions. Before we go anywhere, let's make sure we know what the word discount means. Use your common sense. Ignore math for a moment. You've been shopping before. You've looked through catalogs before. You've gotten maybe coupons before. A discount means they're giving you a break on the price. They're going to lower that price for you for whatever reason, whether it be with a coupon or be maybe because you're a valued customer or just because there's a sale going on. So a discount reduces how much you have to pay at the register. A discount does not increase the amount you have to pay at the register. So let's make sure this makes sense. Let's keep it reasonable. So the actual definition that the book says is a discount is the amount by which a regular price of an item is reduced. It's the amount they take off. That amount they take off, that is the discount amount. Your new price, once you've taken off the discount, that's your sale price. And the original price, we'll just call it the original price or the regular price. That's how we'll refer to the original price. So in every single one of these questions, we're going to find out what is our new sales price or what was the discount. There's two methods we're going to work on. And we're going to do this first example, and we're going to do it using both methods. And before I go anywhere, I'm just going to let you know, method one is probably going to be the more intuitive one, the one that makes maybe a little bit more sense to you. It does happen to have a few more steps, but it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't have that many more. Method two is going to be faster. And before I even do it, I just want you to know method two is going to go straight to your grand total. So I'm just going to say straight to grand total. It does not tell you how much the discount was. It does not tell you how much it was taken off. It just simply tells you what is the new total after the discount. We'll talk about both methods. So let's do this example. It's all about tennis, it says. It says find the price of a $69.50 tennis racket that is on sale for 20% off. Well, 20%, that's our percentage. $69.50, it's 20% of $69.50, that's what they're taking off. So of $69.50, that is our of number, or that is our whole number, or more importantly, we'll call that our original price. So what we were calling the of number before, or the original number, or the whole number, that's going to be the original price. That's think of that as your of. So I think we've been using blue. So now that's your original price, and that's your discount. So what you're going to do is you're going to find out what is 20% of $69.50. Because if you can find out what is 20% of it, you'll know how much is your discount. And remember, discounts get subtracted. So you're going to subtract that from your regular price. And that'll tell you your sales price. That's what you'll actually be told is your total at the cash register before tax. So now, just like we learned everywhere else, remember, it's always percent multiplied by the of, or the whole, we can call it, or the original. These are all ways of saying the same thing. That will always equal the is number, or we can call that the part number, the portion, the piece of, or in this case, it's going to be our discount amount in this section. That amount, that piece of, is going to be the discount amount. So if we do percent times the original price, you see the original price is a synonym with the of number, that's going to give us the discount price. All the blue words kind of mean the same thing, and all the red words sort of mean the same thing for our purposes. So that's what we're going to do. So for this question, 20%, we got to multiply that, but you can't do it until it's a decimal. So move the decimal place over twice. So it's 0.2 or 0.20 if you like to see that zero there. We're going to multiply that by the $69.50. So by $69.50, and that's going to give us our discount amount, because we found out that's a discount amount. If you do discount percentage, what is the percent, times what your regular price is, your original price, that will equal your discount amount, always, 100% of the time. And so we'll just call it P. Or actually, since it's a discount we're taking off, I'm still going to call it P, just out of habit. Anyways, so go ahead and get out your calculator and multiply these together. And if you do that, you'll get $13.90. So that tells you $13, well, 13.9, but that's known as 13.90, which means we're talking money, so $13.90. That's your discount amount, meaning that's how much they're going to take off the total. So this is method number one, by the way. So this is how much they're taking off the total. So go back to the original $69.50, $69.50, and now you're going to subtract the $13.90, and that will tell you the actual sales price, the actual price you pay at the register before tax. So if you subtract that, you're going to get $55.60. So that tells you found the amount of your discount, and you subtracted that amount of discount from the original price, you got your sales price. That's how we calculate sales prices, using discounts. Now, that was method one. That's the method. Takes a little bit more time, takes a little bit more steps, and sometimes from people it feels laborious. But if you need to start off doing this method, that'll help you understand it more, perfect, do that method. Now I'm going to take a minute to explain method number two. It tends to be the method I use the most. It's a faster method. And so that's going to be the one we'll focus on. And I'll also tell you, it's the exact same thing as what we talked about in the last video. We were doing sales tax and tips, where we were increasing it past 100%. So as a brief reminder, in the last video, if we had if we were leaving a 20% tip, and let's say we had a $50 check, we're leaving a 20% tip. We were doing, what is 100% is $50, 20% tips, that's 120% total. Last video we did, what is 120% of that $50? So we would do 1.20 or 1.2 times $50, and that's how we would find out that we would have a grand total of $60 after our tip, because that would be 1.2 times 50, it'd be 60. So that was how we did taxes and tips. But now we're doing discounts, so we're still going to do the same thing. If it's a 20% discount, we're just to take, we know the regular price, if we pay the entire $69.50, that's going to be 100%. But if we subtract out our 20% discount, we know that we now realize we're only paying 80% of the original regular old price. So here's what we do. If we can find what is 80% of the regular old price, that right there is going to be our answer. It's going to take us straight to that total. And I called it the grand total, but really that's not true, because technically your grand total includes your sales tax. But for our purpose right now, if we're ignoring sales tax, we'll say that's the final total. Although technically at the cash register it'd be called the subtotal, then they would add tax, and then you have your grand total. We're going to keep it simple. For now, for the first few questions, we're going to ignore tax. We might do one at the very end and include tax as well. Alright, so anyways, finding 80%. So that tells us 80% is our percentage, and it's of the regular sales price. So that's still the of number, or the original number. It's still the blue. Okay, so 80%, well that's 0.8 or 0.80 if you prefer to write that. I'll just put that there for those that like knowing where the 80% go. We're going to multiply that by the regular old price that we started off with, so $69.50. Use your calculator, multiply these together. And if you do that, it'll take you straight to, I didn't mean to erase that 0. Get sloppy all of a sudden. Let's try that again. $69.50. That will equal $55.60. So that tells you your total before taxes, we're ignoring tax right now, your total at the cash register for that item is $55.60. Well, hey, that agrees with what we had before, $55.60. But I think you'll agree, we did it with much less steps. We literally did it with one calculation. Boom, we have our answer. But we couldn't do that one calculation until we realized if it's a 20% discount, take away the 20% discount out of the 100% price. And if you don't make that connection that you need to be using 80% to answer this question, it would make it tough to do what we just did. So when in doubt, you can do it intuitively like method number 1, but once you get better at it, or if you just want to start off, if you can make this connection why it was 80% of the regular price, if you can already make that connection, go straight to this method. And so just do 80% of $69.50, and that'll take you straight to your answer, $55.60. So that's the sales price. That's the price after the discount. So now we're going to do a few examples as usual. So make sure you hit pause and you try these examples yourself using either method you want. For the first couple, I might do both methods, but after that, I'm probably just going to stick with method number 2 because it tends to be faster, less steps, i.e. more students are going to prefer it. So just take your time and follow along, and make sure that you hit pause and try them first, and then hit play and see how you did, and fix any mistakes, and understand and learn from any mistakes that you make. Alright, take a moment to try these questions. Press pause and see if you can do these on your own. Press pause, give them a shot. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work these questions out. I'm going to do the first one with we're going to call it example 2 because we kind of already did an example. I'm going to do this one using both methods, method 1 and method 2. And then for the second one, I'm just going to go right into just method 2. So now method 1 we said was first finding out how much is your discount amount. So method 1 was just find the discount and then subtract the discount from the price. That was method 1. So that's the first method we're going to do. So we're going to start off by finding what is 5%, because it's going to be 5% of, that should be green. What is 5% of 89.95? So this is just like that whole is of stuff we talked about. So if we do the discount percentage and we multiply it by our original price, what we set up here, the original price, that's going to give us our discount amount. So that's what we're going to do. So let's turn that 5% into a decimal. We have videos on how to do that if you're having trouble converting percentages to decimals. So that's 0.05. Remember, we're going to move it twice to the left. We're going to multiply that by the 89.95. And then at this point, it's all up to the calculator. But it was up to you to set it up correctly. So that's going to give us our discount amount. I'm just calling it P just for some letter. So now with your calculator, you can go ahead and do this. But here's what I want you to do. Round to the nearest cent, okay? But it said round your sales price to the nearest cent. So if we get a number that's not to the that's a little bit less than a penny, like let's say it was 0.257, so that's 27 cents and then a little bit more of a penny. Well, let's leave it as that for now, and then we'll round at the very end. That'll help reduce any errors or rounding errors we have due to rounding. And that's what happened in this example. So if we did 0.05 times 89.95, here's what we get. This is our discount amount. Our discount amount is 4.4975. And that seems silly when we're talking money. We're like, why can't we just call that $4.49 or $4.50? Technically, this would round to $4.50. So I just said wait to round until the end, but honestly, it's not going to make a material difference on your question. So we'll do a quick experiment and see if it makes any difference for us. So now that we have the discount amount, we're going to subtract that from $89.95. So take your original $89.95 and now subtract out what we just got to be the discount amount. So if I do $89.95 and I subtract out that full thing, 4.4975, that gives me $85.45 and then 0.25 of a penny. So that's not going to do us very good. But so we would round that down to $85.45. Now let's see if it's the same thing if we had rounded it like we said we should. Just go ahead and round now, keep it to pennies. So that 449.75, that's going to the nearest penny. Just to remind you, it was 4975. To the nearest penny is right here, so look at the next digit. That is 5 or higher, so that tells you to round up. So that becomes a 0, which makes that a 5. So that's where we're about to get so that's where we get 50 cents from. So your discount is $4.50. So now if you do $89.95 minus $4.50, we're doing our test, see if it was the same. So if we did $89.95 minus 4.5 or 450, that gives us $85.45. So that was the same thing we said earlier. It just wasn't an ugly way of saying it. It wasn't scary. This way is not as scary. So when you do these questions, go ahead and just round to the nearest cent at each step. And this is one of the situations where you're dealing with money. Go ahead and round each step to the nearest penny, just to keep it reasonable, because that's what the cash register does anyways. And so we've now found out that our final price is going to be $85.45. That's going to be our sales price after our discount. So that was method number 1. Sorry for the delay, but I want to experiment and show you. If you're not sure, check it and see if it's any different. Now, method number 2 is the faster method. If this is the method you wanted to do and you haven't tried it yet, hit pause and see if you can do method number 2, which is a little bit faster way. In this method, we're going to immediately subtract out our discount from our 100%, because if we were paying 100%, we'd be paying the full $89.95, but we're getting 5% off. So we're only paying 95%. That's how much we're paying of the original price, of the regular old price. So that means we're going to find out what is 95% of $89.95. So that means do your 0.95, and we're going to multiply that by the $89.95. And this right here will tell you what is your final price already. That's going to be straight to the point. So 0.95 times 89.95. Don't know why I'm calculating, but I'm just making a point to show you, because maybe now you'll round at the very end. So that gives us 85 85.45, here's my decimal, 85.4525. And that's what we mentioned earlier that we had if we hadn't rounded like we did. So let's make our answer reasonable. Let's round to the nearest cent. The nearest cent is the 5, so that's 45 cents. But you have to go to the next one and tell you how to round the previous one. So to tell us how to round the 5, we got to look at this one. This is a 2, that is 4 or smaller, so it says round down, which means we're left, the 5 stays where it is. So that tells us we're working with $85.45. That is not $85. $85.45. That's what we're working with. And that was the same answer we got last time. That was just with less steps and less worries. But it's only if you're able to make the connection that if you have a 5% discount, that means you're really paying 100% minus 5%. So you're paying 95% of the original price. So if you can make that connection that we're dealing with 95%, then yes, method number 2 is going to be your friend. You're going to love him. If you have not done so already, press pause and try out question number 3. See how you can do it. Use either method you want, and then when you hit play, I'm going to do the method number 2 just to go straight to the answer. So take a moment to hit pause. Okay, so it's a 15% discount, and so method number 2 is for the 15% discount. That means if we're getting 15% off of our 100% price of the regular old price, since the original price is $14, that means we're only paying 85%. So the magic percent you're using for this question is 85%, because that's 100% minus 15%. So we're paying 85%. So in this question, we're really asking what is 85% of 14? That's what we're really looking for. So so you're ready for the calculator at this point. What is 0.85 times 14? So 0.85 times 14. Okay, that gives me 11.9. Well, that means 90 cents. So that's $11.90. That's what that tells us. That's going to be our sales price, $11.90. That's your sales price after the discount. So take a moment to think about how you did on that one and reflect on what you got going on. Before I move on, I want to point out, if you had a question that said, what was the discount amount? Meaning, how much are you going to save? Like some people like to brag, oh, I saved this much money when I went shopping. If you want to know how much you saved, what was that discount amount? Method number 2 isn't going to go straight to your answer. It's not going to help you out as much. You're going to want to use method number 1 where you just do what is 5% of $89.95. So this is how much money you saved. You saved $4.50. That was your discount amount. So the question says, what is your discount? That's all it says. They want to know this amount. They want to know how much are you taking off the total. They do not want to know the grand total at the end. They want to know how much. They don't want to know the sales price. They want to know how much you took off. Technically, with method number 2, you could do that. You could do it that way. You could do method number 2 to find your sales price, and you could just do original price minus sales price, and that'll still give you the $4.50. But then you're not saving a step like you used to with method number 1. So if it's a question that asks what was the discount amount, not the sales price, the discount amount that you took off, I'm going to recommend just using the beginning of method number 1. That's going to speed you up. And you will have some homework questions that will do that. Let's try some more examples. All right, give these 2 questions a shot. I'm not going to spend much time explaining these ones, but hit pause and try them, but I will give you the steps and the answers to them, and I'll briefly explain it. But I won't spend as much time on them. So hit pause. Try these 2 questions. All right, and the first one, 15% discount. So that tells us we know we're paying 85% of the regular price for the reasons we talked about earlier, 100% minus 15%. So that means what is 85% of $18.95, since that was the original price. I'll come back and solve that in a minute. And the next question, we're paying 60% of the original price because we did 100% minus 40. The original price was $149. Stop erasing. $149. So in this question, we're saying what is 60%? You can say 0.6 or 0.60 times 149. What does that equal? So now go back with your calculator and make sure that you can solve both of these. And that's what I'm about to do as well. All right, so I wrote the answers without rounding, but just remember we're talking money, so you have to round your answers to the nearest penny. So, and this is what the cash register does as well. So that 7 says that this penny gets rounded up to a 1. So that means we're talking $16.11. That's going to be the sales price of number 4. Now the next one, our answer was 89.4. We're talking money, so there's a 0 after that, and technically there was even if it was a decimal, so 89.40. So that tells us $89.40. And that's how we set them up, that's how we solve them. So take a moment to think about what you did here. Now we're going to do a couple word problems is what we're going to do. And we're going to do what maybe, I'll explain when we get to it. One moment. I just remembered, before we move on, I want to mention something. If you're someone who prefers to use the percent proportion when you're solving each of these questions, you're going through and you're actually making a proportion to find these amounts, you don't have to use this same equation that I keep using. You do this though. What we used to call the of number or the whole number, it's still the original number, or the is part discount. That is all still the same. But if you're preferring to use the proportion method, it still always works. It's just going to be the same connection we made. The 85% over 100, that is going to equal now your is over your of, or your discount over your whatever. So in this case, if you're using the shortcut, this formula is going to give you the sales price, because this interpretation up here, the discount amount, that was if you were doing method number 1. But if you convert this for method number 2, what it equals is your sales price, as if you're doing it with method number 2. So I guess I should have mentioned that. I apologize if you've been confused on that. If you're doing method number 2, what it equals over here isn't going to be your discount amount. It's going to be your sales price. But if you're doing method number 1, you're doing that original calculation of what is your discount, what it equals is your discount. So this is what it means for method number 1. This is what it means in method number 2. So now, give me 1 second. I'm going to push that out of the way for the moment. So I want to point out that when you're working on each of these, that gives you an opportunity to go ahead and use your proportion. So in this example, you still would have put, okay, we don't know what the sales price is, so we'll just call it P. We're going to divide that by is over of, just like you would with the percent proportion. And the of would be the 1895. Give me 1 moment.
Good afternoon, Winthrop students.
Alright, so you notice in that example, the of would be the 1895. And so if you're using the proportion method, you still can. You would just, your equation would look just like mine, but you're still going to use the same connections that we talked about. Alright, so in this example, go ahead and pause. Actually, I'm sorry, you don't have this example yet. I guess I should explain it for a moment. Alright, so in questions like this, notice what they're doing. They gave you the sale price, and so they gave you the sale price, and that was originally what we were solving for, and they gave you the discount amount. But what they did not do is they're asking what was the original price. That's what they want to know. They want to know what was the price originally, because that's what you're going to be solving for in this question. So in this question, you know there's a 10% discount, which means you're taking 10% out of 100%, so you're paying 90% of the original price. So it's going to be very similar. So that means 90% of some original price. We don't know that original price. We used to put the original price right here in those past examples. So in this example, we know the sales price, we know the percentage. We're working backwards. What was the original price? That's what we're doing. So we know we paid 90% of the original price, and when we did that, we only ended up being charged $50. So now solve this equation like you would any other equation by getting rid of the times 0.9. So if you divide both sides by 0.9, you'll have 50 divided by 0.9, and that's going to give you an answer. But so let's show our work. Divide both sides by 0.9 or 0.90. Okay, they cancel on the left, and you're left with W equals 55.5555.
Round 1.
And that's what we're going to do.
Emily McDarby.
Alright, so in this example, it rounds to about $55.56, but it said round to the nearest nickel. Maybe they did it for just fun. So to the nearest nickel, that means multiple of 5. It's going to be $55.55. That was the original price. So we worked backwards. We simply did the percent of the original that we paid. Remember, we got 10% discount, same reason, times, we don't know the original amount. That equals our sales price. So we worked backwards. Alright, so take a moment to read this question and give this one a shot. And then hit pause, give this question a moment, and see if you can figure out in this question. And I'll give you a hint. There's a discount that you have to take off first, and then there's a sales tax you have to add on. So it's using the skills we learned in last section. So take off the discount, then add on the sales tax. All right, so I
Daily
gave,
minute and
excuse me,
Michael
sorry guys.
Winter.
All right, so you'll notice I gave you your hints. You have to take off the discount first, then you're gonna add on the sales tax. That's what you need to do for this question. So the discount is a 15% discount, which means we're paying 85%, 100% minus 15%. We're paying 85% of the original sales price. So that's the original, not the sales price, I'm sorry, the regular price. So 85% of the regular price. So the magic number is going to be, what is 85% of that regular sales price, which is $125.99. So if you calculate that, that'll tell you how much are you paying after your discount, but it's before your tax. All right, so if you take the time to multiply that out, that's 0.85 times 125.99, you get 107.0915. We're talking money, so let's round to the nearest cent. So that's gonna be 9 cents. So that tells us before sales tax, we are paying $107.09. That is the sales price of this fishing rod that's on sale. That's our sales price. So now it's time to do the sales tax. So use what we learned in last section. If you're paying a 3% sales tax, that tells you you're already going to be paying 100% of $107.09, but now you're paying another 3%. So grand total, you're going to be paying 103%. So it's essentially asking, this review of last video, what is 103% of 107.09? So if you can answer this question, this will be your final answer to answer this. All right, so move that decimal over twice, and you have 1.03. That's what you're going to multiply by 107. So 107, sorry for the black line, 0.09. So multiply these together, and you will find out what is your grand total, including sales tax at this point. That's what that'll tell you. So let me grab the calculator as well. All right, so we get $110 and 0.3027. Since we're talking money, we still have to round to the nearest cent. So this is the nearest cent. Go to the next digit. It says round down. So that tells us 30 cents. So our grand total at the register you're going to have to give them is, including sales tax, $110.30. That's going to be your grand total at the cash register. And so this was a realistic question where we calculated what is your discount. So up here we did, if it's a 15% discount, we're going to be only paying 85% of the regular price. So that, we multiply that by the regular price and found out our sales price is $107.09. Then at the register, they're going to also charge you 3% tax. So that means they're going to charge you 103% of $107.09. If you don't know why that's 103%, go back to our last video when we talked about how to do sales tax and tips. So then 103% is 1.03. Multiply that by 107.09 and you get this decimal. Then round to the nearest penny and you have $110.30. That's what your grand total going to have to give the cashier in order to leave the store with that fishing rod. So with all these questions, guys, just remember, it's just like what we did with taxes, sales tax, and tips. You're just simply you're subtracting it from your total. So the percentages you're going to be using when doing discounts are going to be less than 100%. Whereas when we were doing percentages for taxes and tips, we had percentages more than 100%. So it works exactly the same way. Take your time, make sure your answers are reasonable, and use your common sense. And maybe next time you go shopping with your parents, you can help them make informed decisions, and maybe you can predict exactly what is that item going to cost you that you guys are looking at buying. Good luck, guys. Make sure you practice.